This is Tom Tankelewicz, assistant coach with New Mexico basketball, and you're listening to episode 104 of the Talking Grammar podcast.
All right, well, there you heard it. There's Tom Tankelewicz, the new UNM Lobo basketball assistant, one of 5 new assistants for the Lobo basketball team. And this is, in fact, episode 104 of the Talking Grammar podcast. I figured I'd at least break up the monotony of the same old scene behind me when I'm recording in the office space I use in my house. But I am out on my back patio now and did record a podcast earlier today with Tom Tankelewicz and just starting to try and let Lobo fans and people around the Lobo community get to know the new guys, right? New coach, we already had him on the pod. Trying to do as much as I can with the new players when they announce their commitment to UNM. A lot of them do it on social media since this was an entirely new roster. Hasn't been like in the past where we just write one story and then kind of wait a few weeks, maybe another player comes, something like that. This is going to be a 15-player kind of process. So I've been doing a story and asking these players just 5 basic questions, really. A lot of them via text message, and been also offering up these 5 questions with the new players to get an idea of who these players are. As much as we do all of this stuff, it's going to be a lot of unknown until next season. We're kind of all, myself included, waiting to see how this, I don't want to call it an experiment, but it's a new era, right? We've got to see how it works. It is not the typical kind of roster turnover. This is a 100% coaching staff and 100% player roster turnover that we're seeing. And because of such a unique and highly respected within the industry, the college basketball industry system and style that Eric Olen has, it is new. They get to sort of pick this system and do this recruiting very targeted to what they want, especially on offense, and that is a lot of skilled players. I would say with the added, certainly much added compared to what they had at UC San Diego, NIL opportunity they have at New Mexico with the 505 Sports Venture Foundation providing them far more money than they're used to. It has opened a whole lot more doors, and so far the majority, certainly not all, but the majority of the names that have committed have done so because of a familiarity with the coaching staff. Certainly a lot of San Diego connections so far. I can assure you, as I record this right now, episode 104, there are some good names that are being recruited that are still very much in play for the Lobos, that have no San Diego ties, that are Division I transfers out there. I do know some of you are starting to get a little worried when you see so many just San Diego connections. Well, wow, are they ever going to recruit outside of San Diego? Yes, they're going to recruit outside of San Diego. They are recruiting outside of San Diego. Let's not forget, Antonio Cho's a 5-star junior college transfer. He is rated number 5 out of the top 100 junior college recruits, according to JUCOrecruiting.com. They've landed a couple good players already. It's just hasn't been, I suppose, people that you and fans in general would be very familiar with unless they really dig into what these players have done. But I will add again, it's very targeted. How these players work together, specifically what they do based on this system that Eric Olen runs. And I'm excited to watch it. I really am. Is it going to work? We'll all find out. I'll find out along with you guys. I tend to be a little more optimistic about how this is going to work out, and some of the fans have already kind of been started to get a little vocal on social media about it. But I will tell you, I'm excited to see a coach with a really targeted roster building and recruiting approach to a very unique and highly respected system. And I apologize if it's getting a little windy on this recording now. It is very windy out here, and I will kind of wrap it up here with this. Tom Tankelewicz is the first of 5 assistants that I hope to get on this show before next season. You know, kind of spread them out a little bit over the off season and let you guys get to know the new era of Lobo basketball. And He was good. It was fun, man. He's a smart guy. He's a young guy, and he's a very driven guy. I was fascinated to hear a couple of his answers to some of these questions. I did not know he has a 3-month-old son, and that was the first I heard that. So big moment in Tank's life going on right now, with a big jump up coaching wise as an assistant coach to New Mexico and in the Mountain West, and a lot going on in his personal life with his wife and 3-month-old who have not yet been able to move out here to New Mexico, but obviously he's looking forward to when they can. So I appreciate Tom for doing this. Tank, as most people refer to him, I really appreciate Tank for being the first of these assistant coaches to sort of venture into whoever the heck this Talking Grammar guy is podcast world, and appreciate him for doing that. I appreciate you guys for watching and your continued support for this podcast and all our coverage really at the Albuquerque Journal. It's crazy that in April, consistently multiple top 10, we do a top 10 stories list every week, and it fascinates me that we are still in April getting multiple Lobo basketball stories into that top 10 list every single week in terms of engagement and how long people are spending. It's a metric that we look at to see not just if pages are getting clicked. I know clickbait and page views is what a lot of people like to think we are looking at. We're not. We're looking at engagement time, actual scrolling through the page, actual reading the content, and Lobo basketball is still among the most consistently read and well-read products of the Albuquerque Journal, and I appreciate you guys for that because it allows me to do what I love doing, and that's covering college basketball. This is fun, man, even in the off-season. So if you can support local journalism, it would help continue doing things like this, the podcast, also just all our coverage year-round of Lobo basketball. And to do that, you can subscribe if you can, digitally or in print or both, to the Albuquerque Journal at abqjournal.com/subscribe. We also have, I think, a good half dozen podcasts now on the Albuquerque Journal Podcast Network. You can see them all on the Albuquerque Journal's YouTube page. You can listen to them all wherever you download your podcasts. They're all available. There's links to all this stuff on abqjournal.com as well. And I'll keep them coming, man. Sean and I are also doing a weekly sports show live that we will settle in very soon to something, a weekly time for our show, and I'll let you guys know when that is. This podcast will certainly continue, and I appreciate you guys for supporting it. For now, let's get on to that interview with Tom Tankelewicz, the assistant basketball coach of the UNM Lobos.
If you enjoy our podcast, please like and subscribe and consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal to help us bring you more content like this. You can find this episode and all of our podcasts on the Albuquerque Journal website, abqjournal.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. See the show notes for a discount code on a digital subscription. Thank you for supporting the Albuquerque Journal, New Mexico's leading news.
All right, I'm joined now by, let me make sure I get it right, because it's Tom Tankelewicz?
Tankelewicz, yeah, very close. You got it.
And is it okay? I did ask you this because everyone I hear talk about you or refers to you as Tank. Are you okay with people referring to you as Tank?
Tank sounds perfect. It's a whole lot easier than pronouncing my full name. So
yeah, I obviously as people get to know you, Lobo fans will get to know you pretty well, and I imagine you'll start getting recognized at the store and stuff like that. It probably hasn't started to happen yet, but it will. I imagine it will. You're wearing the Lobo gear, and people will probably start recognizing you a lot quicker. What's your initial reaction to Albuquerque? It's been a couple weeks for you, right? 3 weeks?
Yeah, just about 3 weeks. It's been excellent so far. You know, it's obviously different than San Diego, and we haven't really had a chance to experience the whole scope of Albuquerque because it's been a lot from going from the facility to a Zoom call to a recruiting visit to the hotel and a lot of back and forth between that. So we've obviously with the visits, you've been able to experience some different restaurants and a little bit of the city, but I'm looking forward to really diving into Albuquerque once we get some more downtime and this roster is complete.
I'm going to kind of go through a little bit of your history, but while you're talking about the visits and stuff, it's something I had mentioned. I'd sent a text to Eric recently and just said, when this all settles down, I'm kind of curious, like, what you guys even do on a recruiting visit, right? Somebody at UNM has to basically tell you where you're showing them, right? You guys are learning the campus. You guys are learning the student resource center as much as some of these players. So while usually it's you guys kind of leading the way, I imagine there's got to be somebody who was here already that sort of is helping you guys out and kind of leading you guys a little bit while you guys are learning the campus.
No, that's a great question. And I don't want to mention anybody specifically because it's been a whole team of people that have helped us get the operation moving forward to where we're comfortable running an official visit. But like each official visit, it takes a lot of time to plan, right? Specifically, if you're having 2 and 3 guys on campus at any given time, it takes a lot of coordination, not only from our basketball staff, but everybody involved in the athletic department, in academics, making sure we're set for the photo shoot. It's a whole team of people, not just any one person. Now, the really cool thing is, man, the pit is an unbelievable facility, right? Like you're able to take them around there, show them the practice gym. Hey, everything you need is under one roof. Yeah. Like as a basketball coach, that's what you dream about. Like that's really dang cool to me.
Well, I was going to say, I imagine too, is when you guys show them the pit, the hope is their first glimpse is coming down the ramp and maybe not. I don't know if you guys go up on the top level first or not, but I would imagine the first impression of the pit being walking down that ramp is probably the way to go.
Oh, you're in our meetings. It sounds like you're in our meetings. Yeah, we go down the ramp first. And I mean, at this point, I've probably been down there 15 times, right, with any recruit. And man, you get goosebumps, chills. Like you feel the history of the place. And just imagining what a game day will be like in Albuquerque in the pit with 15,000 fans that really care about winning and losing the same way the staff does. That's a pretty cool thing to be a part of. And that's not lost on us as a staff or on the people that we're bringing in to be a part of this program.
Well, let's talk about you. If you go through this process when you were a college age player, first of all, where are you from and when did basketball start for you?
Yeah, I was born in Philadelphia and moved to Raleigh, North Carolina when I was 7.
Does that mean you're not an Eagles fan, or are you an Eagles fan?
I'm all Philly sports fan.
Oh, that's too bad.
Eagles, Flyers, Philly, Sixers.
Well, this has been fun. Let's wrap it up there. No, that's fine. Eagles are okay. I'll tell you, you'll get to know, because in New Mexico with no pro teams, the 2 adopted pro teams in New Mexico for football anyway, the Broncos, which makes a little bit of geography sense, but the Cowboys, man, there are a ton of Cowboy fans here, and that's
seen some of that already.
Yeah, it is a miserable existence with all these Cowboy fans here, I'll tell you. So yeah. You moved to North Carolina when you were about 7.
Yeah, moved to North Carolina when I was 7, and that's the hoop state. Like that's how people refer to North Carolina, and maybe it's not for the number of players, like the sheer number of players that California, Texas produce on a yearly basis, but everybody plays basketball, right? I don't know if it's quite Indiana, but like you go outside, people are playing in the driveway. You go to the playground, people are playing in the park. So it really started just playing pickup games and with friends, and then driving to different neighborhoods, playing against different people, trying to get better. That's where that love started. But it's pretty easy to have that love in North Carolina because it's ever present. Basketball is everywhere.
You were a pretty good high school player, good enough to play college, right? Where was high school for you?
High school was Middle Creek High School, just outside of Raleigh, the capital. Had some good teams. Went to a Final Four my junior year. Went 27-3. Played with a handful of Division I players in my high school team, and then I went to Charleston Southern for 1 year. Played decently well, not as efficient as Coach Olen would like. And then ended up transferring to Western Carolina, where I finished my career for a legendary coach, Larry Hunter, who won 700-plus games, started at Division III, and he was the youngest coach to ever win a national championship, age 25 at Wittenberg over in Ohio. So learned a lot from him, and he was a little rough and tough around the edges. Like he wasn't a lover. He was an old school type coach, but playing for him made me feel the impact that he had on my life. And that's why I ultimately wanted to get into coaching. Was he was one of those guys for me.
I don't get the impression that Eric's really the only one I've been able to kind of get to know a little bit. And as the head coach, when you see the team from last year, he's the one people on the outside get to see the most. I don't get the impression he's the old school yeller type as much, but I imagine you guys have to get after him sometimes. But the style of that coach compared to the style of you as a coach, I'm curious. Are you a little bit more of a yeller or a little bit more of a just a talker?
I'm more of a talker. There's certainly some things that get under my skin as a coach.
Yeah.
Right. Like the controllable turnovers drive me absolutely nuts on offense, stepping out of bounds, initial dribble turnovers, like jabbing and traveling, turning it over, not running back on defense. Just like sloppy play offensively is what really ticks me off and gets me to sometimes turn that into a yell. But Coach Olen does a nice job of navigating that line, going from, hey, like these guys need to be loved on, to, hey, he knows when to click it on, right? Because some guys will just yell constantly, and at that point you're gonna lose the team. He really picks and chooses his spot so that it's meaningful when he does raise his voice.
So it does happen though, right?
It certainly happens, yeah.
All right.
It certainly happens.
I'm curious what kind of I saw you hit 83 pointers one year, led the SoCon, if I'm not mistaken, if the bio is telling me the truth. And I'm curious how Tank the player how Tank the coach would view Tank the player. Would he be a guy that got under your skin a little bit?
Maybe so. I was hard-headed. I was a stubborn basketball player, and no shot was a bad shot for me. Coach Olen talks a lot about volume from the 3-point line, right? Volume unlocks a lot of what we do offensively with our spacing and being able to put pressure on the rim. And I was a guy that got volume. Like, I think I shot, 37% from three in college. But I bet if you went back and watched my shots, the degree of difficulty was fairly high. Like, I feel like I'm a better shooter than 37%, to be quite honest. But I think I could have handled myself as a player. I had a chip on my shoulder. We like the guys with the chip. I know you've heard our program talk about that a lot with the players that we recruited to UC San Diego. And I like to think that I would have been a pretty good player in this system.
What about obviously you guys the 3-point volume and all that is what you guys what you just spoke of a little bit there. I'm curious how much of that leads to, and we'll get into a little bit later, kind of how you guys are picking targets and recruiting targets. But is it dangerous sometimes to invite kids into an offense that you're telling them, yes, we need a lot of 3-pointers fired up? I imagine that can lead to some, the green light isn't always for everybody. And I guess you guys probably bring in the right players is the answer there. But the green light can't be for everybody sometimes.
No, it's certainly not, right? And if you go watch our team from last year, one of the reasons that we were really good is the self-awareness on our roster was the best I've ever been around, right? Guys played to their strengths as often as they possibly can, and their teammates allowed them to play to their strengths. They knew what they were going to do. So self-awareness is something that we talk about quite a bit, right? Not everybody's going to be a guy that's going to shoot 10 3-pointers in a game, but hey, you got to handle your responsibility to help us get the shots that we want. And we're not going into games saying, oh, we got to shoot 33s. Like, we're going to take what the defense gives us. If they're going to give us layups all night, shoot, we're going to take layups and get fouled. And then when they start to collapse on our drives, and that will start to spray to three and play with advantage. But it's not like, hey, every night we're going to go jack 53s. It's not a jack all threes offense. We're going to hunt quality shots.
How often do you still get up some shots?
I'm not really working out a ton, right? You're in the gym with the players quite a bit, and I'll mess around every now and then. But our one claim to fame, we play stay ready games, right? So guys that are redshirting, they're not getting as much work during the season, right? As practices start to tailor off and you're trying to keep your rotational players, you're trying to keep their legs. So we'll play stay ready games 2 times a week. So if we play Thursday, Saturday, like we did in the Big West, we'll play these stay ready games Wednesday, Friday. And that's a mix of like former players and coaching staff against some of those guys that are redshirting, not playing as much, to try to just keep them in basketball shape. Right. So that's about the extent of our basketball exercise as a coaching staff right now.
So you're going to feel the mile high air too a little bit coming up. That if you guys ever get a team actually, in Albuquerque to do those games, but you're gonna. Well, I guess you'll have a little bit of time to prepare before they get here.
Yeah, we'll definitely need to do some training as a coaching staff to get ready for that.
All right. So you through college, Western Carolina, was it 1 year professional overseas?
1 year in Eastern Europe.
How did that go?
It went well. Take basketball out of it, just the perspective of living in a different culture, a different country, interacting with different people, really opened my eyes to how fortunate I was growing up. It added a different perspective that I'll forever be grateful for. And then, right, I wasn't making a ton of money. I wasn't that great of a player, but getting paid to play basketball, and especially in a different country that's so unique, was pretty special.
Kosovo, is that right?
Kosovo, and then we would play teams from, Albania, Montenegro, Macedonia, all in that Balkan region of Europe.
For players, and a lot of fans don't get this. A lot of fans tend to think of players going pro as the NBA, and they just don't even. There's still a lot of them that don't compute that there's a whole lot of other basketball out there, even at a lower level professionally. Would you recommend to pretty much all your players, or maybe it's not for everyone, but would you recommend to most players take that opportunity, even if it's just for a year or two?
If that's what they want to do, certainly.
Yeah, and I guess you can tell that, right? I mean, you're around them, so some of them are ready to probably hang it up too, probably.
Yeah, college basketball is a grind, and we're looking for guys that really love it, right? If you don't love the game, we have a staff that we're full of junkies, like guys that we're going to go home and watch basketball. Like that's just what we do. So hopefully we can recruit that way. So if we're getting those types of players in the program, then yeah, I would most certainly recommend they go play in a different country, get that experience for at least 1 year, because I know how much it added to my life.
I guess when you say you go home and watch basketball, do you watch the NBA, or are you a Sixers fan?
I'm not really a Sixers fan. I'll watch the NBA playoffs. But funny enough, like we've been coming home and just watching New Mexico games from the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We have 4 guys together in a house right now, like temporary living, and we come home and we watch Coach Pitino's teams.
Yeah. Well, let me transition there real quick. What do you think of those teams and kind of what certainly different styles, but offense was probably more key than the defense, even though the defense was rated higher. I think people, 10 years from now, people looking back on the Pitino era are going to remember a lot of fast-paced, high-paced offensive teams, and maybe overlook the defense a little bit. Defense is easy to overlook, but I'm curious what your assessment of what you're seeing when you're watching those New Mexico games.
I thought they were a fun team to watch.
Yeah. Fun team to cover.
Because you mentioned the fast-paced, they were certainly physical and they hit. They didn't allow many easy baskets, and they had enough shooting to make it work to where Nelly could a lot of times work out one-on-one in the post, and then he was a good passer to play with the advantage if they did double team him.
I don't know. I mean, real generic here. I'm not asking you to dive deep into this, but what might be one similarity to what fans saw for the past few years under Pitino that you guys will be bringing in? And is 3-point volume really the number one difference that fans will see?
It could be the number one difference, right? Like, we're still building a team and we're not married to any particular style of play, right? Certainly the players that you get, Coach Olen's going to adjust to what they do best, what their strengths are, and avoid their weaknesses as much as possible. I would like to think that we would be able to play with some pace. It's not going to be breakneck where we're just jacking shots early in the shot clock. Like we're still going to hunt quality ones, but right, ultimately the goal defensively is to turn people over and play with advantage and make simple, easy plays when you're playing in 3-on-2 or you're playing in 2-on-1.
Sure. All right, let's get into your coaching then. You started coaching after that 1 year playing professionally. Did you start as a graduate assistant at UNC Greensboro?
I did. Started as a GA for Wes Miller and kind of worked up into like video coordinator, ops, like the usual path.
Sure.
For most guys my age, and ended up being there for 5 years and experienced some great success.
What anything you take from obviously other than the opportunity and being grateful for that, what do you take from those 5 years and kind of learning a little bit under a head coach like Wes Miller?
Yeah. I think Coach Olen added a lot of perspective to it because they're very much different in terms of what they value, right? They're still going to want smart, tough, skilled teams. But Wes was very much, hey, we need ultimate rim protection. We want to throw bodies to the ball and block a bunch of shots. And we can play with less shooting if we can put a ton of athleticism on the floor and a lot of guys that are disruptive defensively. And then, right, that's a little bit different than how Coach Olen wants to operate. He wants a little more skill on the floor. You might have less rim protection because of the skill. So it's been cool to see those two different perspectives from two coaches that I respect quite a bit.
Yeah, the perspective from different coaches is I mean, look, I've been just in this position kind of covering the game. 13 seasons here at the Journal covering Lobo basketball, and a little bit before that I was doing at some other places. But I think a common thread that I've heard from a lot of coaches is while a lot of them may have one mentor or point to one person as maybe the biggest influence, it seems like the most common thread for the coaches that I feel are kind of comfortable in their skin and comfortable with what they're doing and kind of confident about what they want to do is that they have had at least a couple pieces or a couple variances of coaching styles that they've been influenced by.
Sure. I couldn't agree more.
It's one thing to mentor under a great coach for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, but you probably sometimes need a taste of something else to experience it. Even if it's something you never use, you just kind of have to experience it probably at some point.
Yeah, and you're playing against those style of teams, right?
Right.
Like every experience, even if you're not going to utilize the information that you've gained, you're going to certainly play a team that, oh, shoot, they play a lot like we did at UNCG. Oh, that offense is a lot like Wofford. Like you're picking and choosing things, and you're always trying to have a frame of reference in your head for what you've seen in the past and how it applies today.
All right, I'm curious. You go from there to Presbyterian, is that right?
Presbyterian for 1 year.
I'm going to ask you the obvious thing for anybody that knows Presbyterian or looks it up. What is a blue hose?
The old blue hose. It's like the Red Sox, right? So it's how it sounds.
I did look it up, and I thought it was one of the coolest things. And then I actually just Googled it this morning before we did this, and I was like, oh, they actually won a college basketball nickname bracket contest in 2017 was when they won. So, the blue hose. There you go.
There we go. That's awesome.
They, I looked up on the school's website. I guess the history of it is just that they used to wear blue stockings, and the newspapers would refer to them often as the Blue Stockings, I guess, before they had a nickname. So Blue Stockings turned into Blue Hose. And when it was time to actually get a formal nickname, they went with Blue Hose, and it is about the Sox, just like you said.
Yeah, you're in the vault. I didn't expect that one today.
You weren't ready for the Blue Hose, huh?
I was not ready for the Blue Hose.
You will learn about me, the hard-hitting stuff, like the Blue Hose. That's what I bring. That is what I bring. All right. What was your experience at the Blue Hose? And then we'll get over to UC San Diego and what brought you there. What was the Presbyterian year like?
Yeah, Presbyterian was great. I worked with Quentin Farrell was our head coach, and then Eric Wilson was like my mentor when I played in college, right? I told you I played for Larry Hunter. He was like a hard driven, tough nosed coach. Eric Wilson was the guy that would like take me under his arm, like, hey, you're not as bad as he said you were. And like, soften the message, soften the blow a little bit. So
he was the good cop a little bit, huh?
he was a good cop. That's a good way to put it. And so getting a chance to work with him, I don't know what it was, 5-6 years after my college career ended, was a great experience. And we had a good non-conference and had a lot of athleticism on the roster. We're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. We didn't have a lot of shooting, and we were tough defensively, turned people over, blocked a lot of shots, but weren't quite the skilled offensive team. And so that's what kind of led me to UC San Diego, right? I've been studying Coach Olen for a handful of years at Division II level, some of the things that he was doing, and was fascinated by the style of play and got to know him a little bit before that. And that's how I ended up at UC San Diego.
So you say you were studying Coach Olen a little bit at the D2 level, and again, while Lobo fans, this is my opinion, not yours, but while Lobo fans are as passionate as any fan base, their perspective sometimes doesn't expand beyond what's in front of them, which is the Lobos, and maybe a little bit more to the Mountain West, or when it was the WAC. But I don't know that they look too far beyond sometimes. So there are still people a little concerned about, wait, this guy spent most of his career as a Division II coach. What are we getting? But you're talking about even before you worked with him, you were kind of studying him. And I know people that have followed what you guys did at UC San Diego have a lot of respect for the system and all that. What were you seeing before you even worked with him that would be maybe a quick Cliff Notes version of what you were studying when you say you were studying Eric before you even worked with him?
Yeah, efficient offense. There was one summer I got really into like John Beilein at Michigan, trying to study what he did out of his Chin series. And that kind of led me into Coach Olen doing some similar concepts at UC San Diego. And then like looking up their numbers, they had a team that was over 50% from 2, over 40% from 3, and shot over 80% from the foul line. To do that as a team is like, it doesn't happen. So I was like, when I saw that, I was like, let me really start to watch. And then seeing the types of players that he had, the skill, the ability to do multiple things offensively, the ability to process information and anticipate what's happening next. That's how I view the game should be played. And that's why I gravitated towards Coach Olen and that style of play.
How did you approach him about a job, or did he approach you? How did that work? I get college coaching. There's a lot of different ways this happens because there's a lot of movement. But how did you get there?
Yeah, so when I finished up as a GA at UNCG, right, did 2 years there, wasn't sure if I was going to stay at UNC Greensboro or go back. We had a great friend on our staff at that time, Kyle Bankhead, who is now at San Francisco. He was at University of San Diego for a decade in the West Coast Conference, and he kind of connected the dots with Coach Olen, and we were able to stay in contact from that point forward, even though I decided to stay at UNC Greensboro for, I guess it was 3 more years at that point.
All right. What were you doing at UC San Diego the last few years?
Yeah. First and foremost, like my main responsibility was offense, right? And that's running drills in practice, film with individual players, film with the team, and creating the different ways that we're going to try to attack on a nightly basis, right? And obviously Coach Olen has a say in that, and we collaborate often with him and Mikey Howell on our staff, who also helped quite a bit. And that was some of the extent of it. Like it's all encompassing, and it goes on all day, all night, but basically running the offense.
I'm curious, you do it a lot more in depth than any fan or any media member really does, frankly. But for me, Ken Palm's open pretty much from like in the morning when I kind of get onto the computer. I open Ken Palm, and it's one of my tabs like all day, every day, because it seems to be the quickest first reference on the team if I'm just looking something up and players and all that. But like Torvik's pretty good at that stuff too now. I'm curious what kind of basic stat page or stats or analytics that you're using like on a daily basis, or is the answer just all of them?
Yeah, I think I'm at least logging into Ken Palm, Torvik, Evan Maya, Haslam metrics at least once a day.
Yeah.
Right. And then
all four. Those are the four that I'm aware of pretty well. And those are the four I look at mostly.
Yeah. As a quick reference, right? If it's in recruiting, you're checking on a player, and then you're going to go watch Synergy. If you like what you see, you're going to watch full game. So like you're able to kind of use that information as a baseline for a player, and then get more information and start to trust your eye when you're really watching a full game.
Is there one stat? You're the offensive guy. Is there one stat that fans should look at? I think I asked Eric this, and I frankly don't remember what he said. He might not have said there was a stat, but what one stat tells us this is what we want? If our offense is rolling well, this one stat's probably going to be pretty good. I mean, I know it's not 100% for any specific stat, but is there one stat you look at to see if you guys are doing what you want to do?
I don't know if there's one stat, though. The one that comes to mind would be turnover percentage.
Okay.
Right. Are we taking care of the ball? Are we getting a shot every time? Right. You don't want to give teams run out advantage opportunities. Right. It's hard to get your defense set in those situations. So the better that we can take care of the ball, the more quality of shot that we can shoot on a possession by possession basis should protect our defense. Right. All like offense and defense are connected. It's not just one offense, one defense. Like those two things are married together. So if we're taking care of the ball, then I feel good. Hey, we're going to be able to get our defense set. That's going to lead to turnover opportunities, and we're going to be in a better position going offense.
Complementary offense and defense. I know football coaches talk about a lot, but it applies in any sport, I imagine. All right, you're here at UNM now. What is it that you guys are looking for? How do you build a roster when you're truly starting from scratch? You guys are at ground zero with not a single person on the roster, complete staff turnover as well. But how has this process been when you really get to target whoever you want to target, but like there's also a bit of a clock working against you, right? Other schools are taking maybe players you might want. So how does this work? Who are you guys targeting, and what kind of player is it?
Yeah, certainly there's a clock on it, but we're not going to be the type of staff that's going to rush into decisions that don't make sense for our program. We want guys that are going to fit how we play. They're going to fit in the locker room. And sometimes there's a vetting process to that, right? So a lot of the guys that we targeted are guys that maybe we had a past relationship in the past, or we know a coach really well that we trust that has coached them at a different institution. And that's the way that we're going to gather information and make sure that that's the right person. And then you've heard Coach talk about it. We're going to value certain things at certain positions. Skill is going to be up there. The ability to process information is going to be up there. And then toughness, right? We're not going to take somebody that doesn't play like they have something to prove. Go look at the past teams that Coach Olen's had. The guys that have been successful are the guys that come in with a chip on their shoulder. It doesn't have to be just the Division II, but there's certainly guys at high-level programs that maybe didn't get a fair shot or sat on the bench or told they weren't good enough. Those are the guys that we target.
Have you, in the NIL world, are you guys still trying to wrap your head around how to, I guess to be frank about it, like how to recruit with money as opposed to how to recruit without money? I would imagine the NIL world at UNM's a little bit different and open some doors maybe. But maybe those doors aren't the right way to go, where I think some schools, when they have more money at their disposal to recruit, maybe just go after the best rated so-and-so or whatever, as opposed to what you guys are been doing for years, which is really targeted recruiting with NIL not being a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the NIL is helpful and the support of the university is helpful, but we're not going to take a shotgun approach to this and just, hey, let's get 15 guys that all average 20 points a game at their previous school. Like that's not going to work out for how we want to operate on a daily basis. So we want the hyper-specific targets that we're very confident will fit and play complementary basketball with their teammates.
How close are you guys? I mean, obviously this can go through the end of the summer, and we won't even get into the house stuff and what the roster limits may or may not be. We still, I guess, don't ultimately have that figured out, though I imagine it'll be 15. I'm curious how close, like, are you guys going to go really hard on recruiting until you get to a specific number, or once you get to 10, 11, you can kind of back off a little bit and start working on some other things, and as the last couple spots fill, or have you guys, do you have a decision on that when the heavy recruiting kind of starts to slow down a little bit?
I mean, recruiting is every day.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a letdown in terms of that, right? Talking to the people that need to be talked to on a daily basis. There's not necessarily a target number. Hey, we want to get to 12 and then relax. Like, no, we're going to keep on recruiting until we have the 15 best student athletes in the locker room at New Mexico.
You guys pretty good, pretty happy with how it's gone so far?
Yeah, we are.
Obviously, I'm not asking for specific names, but you guys have other targets that are still part of all this. It's been going. I mean, obviously, I don't expect you to say really anything other than this, but I'll ask anyway. I mean, has it been going as well as you guys had hoped when you guys first started? Whatever the original game plan was, like, how has it gone from there?
It has, and I don't think that, especially with 0 players in your roster, that you can go in with one specific plan, right?
Yeah.
Things in the college basketball recruiting landscape are ever changing. Think about the number of rule changes that have happened
in the
last 24 months. Like, so, yeah, like you go in with a few different plans, and then you're trying to mesh them together as it goes. But yeah, we certainly feel like we're working to be in a good place and excited about what's to come.
Awesome. I will kind of wrap things up here. First of all, thank you for all this, man. This is, I think Lobo fans will appreciate this. You are in a house right now with what, three of your colleagues? You said there's 4 of you in the house.
4 of us in the house.
Who's all living there for now?
We have Mikey Howell, Sam Stapleton, and Jonah Simmenthal.
Okay. I'm curious, when you guys get off work, whenever that is, and I imagine that I know you guys have been putting in some hours, and you say you guys go home and just watch basketball or whatever you do. What has the home life been like so far? Or is it a whole lot of sleeping and then I'll see you at work? Or do you guys, is there video game playing? Is there a grill out back that you guys at least, use that or something? Anything at home yet?
No, it's a lot of takeout, right? You're getting back pretty late. You're watching some of those West Coast playoff games, and then it's pretty much rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine there are a lot of long hours. Yeah. Who's the best basketball player on the staff?
Oh, shoot. I don't know. I think that's to be determined at this point.
Mikey's the youngest. Does Mikey still have the freshest legs?
He does. I can agree. Mikey can certainly play the longest with the best conditioning.
All right. How are him and his brother?
A ringer.
How do him and his players, or him and his brother, play off each other a little bit? What's that dynamic like?
In terms of the court?
Just on the court and around, just around the team. Are they siblings that kind of butt heads a little bit? I mean, obviously they get along well enough that they're both coming here,
right?
But or do they talk trash a little bit, or how does that work out?
No, they're pretty similar in terms of personality. Now, I think Mikey can say things to Chris that maybe no one else could get away with, but he does that in confidence quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that dynamic and how much they enjoy being around each other. Like, that's special to me, right? Those are 2 unbelievable human beings. Take basketball out of it. Like, those are 2 guys that I enjoy spending time with every single day.
Anybody else, who's the joker on the staff? Anybody that's just the guy cracking jokes all the time, or?
I think we have a decent amount of that. The easy answer would be Mike Roberts, who I worked with at UNC Greensboro for 4 years. He's, for lack of a better term, he's like the old head on staff, and just the amount of storytelling that he can get into is it's fun. That's all. I'll leave it at that. You'll get a chance to deal with Roberts a little bit.
I told Eric this, but Mike Roberts, I don't know if he knows this yet or he will be learning it, or you guys all might know it by now, but nearly 40-year voice of the Lobos TV and radio and football and basketball was Mike Roberts, and he is a very well-known name here, Mike Roberts, in the Lobo sports community, not just basketball. Does he know that yet, that Mike Roberts is a well-known name here?
I think he does. That conversation has come up in the office.
I imagine, yeah, he'll probably have to put up with that conversation about 700 times this season when a fan gets to know him or whatever, and every one of them is going to think they're being unique by bringing it up. All right, man. Well, that's good stuff. What non-basketball? What do you have any specific hobbies that get a lot of your time, or are you just a hoops head primarily?
I mean, this is a boring answer, but I enjoy spending time with my wife and son.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm not doing basketball, then I'm most likely doing that.
How old's your son?
3 months and like 3 days. So
there you go. Like, this is a tough time for you to be gone then. How soon will they be able to get out here?
We're hoping as soon as possible, like mid-May to late May is kind of what we're shooting for. But all right now it's a lot of FaceTime calls and trying to stay with it as much as possible and see the progression that he's had just from, it seems like, day to day with young babies like that.
Where'd you meet your wife? Was that a college thing or through the coaching years? Where'd you meet her?
That was college, Western Carolina. She's a year younger than me.
With you through all these coaching years, and she's still sticking around. That says something. The coaching wife life is not an easy one, and I don't say that with any kind of sarcasm at all. Like, I think about it sometimes. They go through a lot having to put up with you guys and having. I mean, even me, I do a little bit of travel just covering you guys, and I know what my wife has to go through, and it's not year-round like you guys with recruiting and all that. So the coach's wife life is a tough one.
No, I appreciate you saying that, and she's been a blessing to me and certainly allows me to do what I love.
That's it's a special person that can do that kind of stuff and sort of, I don't want to say it like this, but like allow you to shine while kind of following you around a little bit and kind of holding down the home life, because without that, none of this is happening.
Couldn't agree more, Jeff. Couldn't agree more.
All right, so I'm gaining brownie points with all the wives right now, all the coaches' wives right now. That's a good thing. I know how to be a reporter. I know who to deal with. Appreciate you, man. Let's obviously I look forward to getting to meet all you guys in person a little bit and kind of seeing how all this works, man. I think you can probably understand. Well, obviously you understand what you guys are doing and how you guys are targeting this a whole lot better than a lot of us watching from the outside. There are some concerned fans about, man, who are they recruiting? Why are we not seeing a whole bunch of 4- and 5-star guys? And obviously, you would take a 5-star guy if he fit, just like any coach would. But you guys are doing a pretty targeted approach here, and I think there is some probably cautious optimism. Maybe is the way to put it with some fans. There's some people that want to see you guys prove it now and see how you guys are piecing this together. But you guys are pretty confident in what you're doing, man. You guys have done this and have a formula that has worked. And I'm curious if you kind of hear any of that. You guys probably don't know enough fans yet or spend enough time on social media. Hopefully you don't to see this. But there are some fans a little concerned about the whole process right now. What do you say to that? Is it just you guys have to stand firm in what you guys believe is worked in the past?
Yeah, we're going to continue to learn on every single day and figure out the best solution to building the best roster possible. And I love that people are concerned.
Like, they care in April.
Yeah, like that's what you're searching for as a college basketball coach, right? Every other place I've been a part of a staff where you're trying to build that care factor. And at UNC Greensboro, we got to that. UC San Diego, we got to that. To have that built in to where people genuinely care about winning and losing and how you're competing, that's really dang cool for us.
Yeah.
You want that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I do think, based on experience based on history with you guys at UC San Diego, I think it's a team that, like, the way you guys play is a way that fans, I think they'll eat it up, man. I mean, we'll all see, come November and December, but I think this is a style that a lot of fans are going to love. Appreciate you, man. Anything else you want to add about what Lobo fans can expect from this new staff and this new era of Lobo basketball?
No, you're going to get a team that's going to compete every single night. hopefully we're playing smart basketball, and hopefully you see a lot of skill on the floor. But you're going to see a lot of passion from the coaching staff. We want it as badly as you do.
That would have been the wise way for me to close this out, but I forgot one question.
Hit me with it.
You've been hitting these restaurants on these recruiting visits. Anything stand out at this point? Any of you guys tried the green chili and it just not hit right? It does take some getting used to a little bit, but people love their chili here. So have you tried that? Are you a chili guy yet?
I've tried it, and I've tried it in a couple different meals. So I'm trying to find the right combination right now.
All right, you're still in the
I'm in the learning phase.
You're in the learning phase. I'm telling you, it happens to everybody though. Like Patino and his wife would politely say, "Oh, I love it. Get Christmas." Everyone says, "Oh, Christmas, red and green together." And but when he left, he actually said on a podcast when he took the Xavier job that I did with him, the podcast I did with him is what I mean, where he said, the first couple of years, it took them a couple of years. They were just politely saying they love the chili, but they absolutely love the chili now. So it might take a little bit of time for some of you guys, but I'm telling you, you don't live in New Mexico without it becoming an acquired taste here. They put it in everything. There are some things that it's a little too far. There's some green chili ice cream, stuff like that. I'm not about that, but
I'm not opposed to trying it at least once. The ice cream.
Give it a try, but you don't need to. I'm not recommending it. I'll say that. But
Okay.
Your breakfast burritos with some green chili, some enchiladas, stuff like that. There's a lot of places to choose from here. So look forward to seeing and picking your guys' brains on where you guys like eating. Hey Tank, I appreciate you for doing this, and good luck, man.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Appreciate you. Go Lobos.
All right, well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that conversation with Tank, one of the new assistant basketball coaches for UNM Lobo basketball, Tom Tankelewicz, and his opinion of the offense that the Lobos are going to run, his experience within the system, his background, and where we're at, getting to know some of these new coaches in the new era of Lobo basketball. They are excited, I can tell you that. They are recruiting like crazy every day, all day, and a lot of recruiting visits recently in Albuquerque. And there are still some decent sized names that you guys, I think, if they're able to land any of these guys, I think Lobo fans are going to be excited about. You should be excited about a lot of the guys they've already got too. There are some interesting pieces already on this roster that fit exactly what Eric Olen's offense is really set to do and designed to do. So I think Lobo fans are going to be excited about just this new era. I wouldn't, as I've said on social media, I wouldn't consider them to be a year one Mountain West championship contender, but I think it's going to be entertaining basketball. I will say too, even if Patino was back, I don't think I would have picked them even after being a Mountain West champion this year. Patino and Dent come back. I don't know that I would pick the Lobos to beat next year's San Diego State roster right now. So all things being equal, I would probably have picked San Diego State first anyway. But I think Lobo fans are going to enjoy this. I think they will. It will be an entertaining brand of basketball, and the building of it, the roster construction of it, I think people are going to like. So again, thank you for supporting this podcast. Thank you for watching this podcast. Watch the other ones, abqjournal.com or Albuquerque Journal Podcast Network, primarily on YouTube, but you can also listen to them wherever you download podcasts. But support us if you can to support local journalism, subscribe digitally or in print. abqjournal.com/subscribe is how you can do that. And it does help us with these podcasts. It helps us with year-round coverage of Lobo basketball and all the stuff we do. There's a lot of great content right now for high school sports, not high school basketball, high school sports from James Yotis, New Mexico United, UNM Lobo baseball. Ken is killing it with that. Combat sports. Rick Wright's a Hall of Famer in the New Mexico Boxing Hall of Fame for a reason. It is as one of the best combat sports writers certainly I've ever been around, and certainly a great columnist as well. And we got Sean Ryder, of course, bringing you all the spring football and all the recruiting news for Lobo football and the start of the Jason Eck era. It is certainly an era of newness around New Mexico athletics, UNM athletics, with the new athletic director, new football coach, new basketball coach, all hired since early December. So an exciting time with a lot of coverage, and a lot of the podcasts like this and a lot of the stories we're doing is helping you guys, helping us get to know these guys. They're new. We got to know who we're covering. You guys got to know who you're cheering for. That's what we hope to bring you with some of these podcasts and some of this coverage. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching or listening, however you're doing it, however you're consuming this podcast. Much appreciated. Until next time, thank you guys for watching.